Hi everyone, my name is Rick. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I'm going to go around and show you more of the cold damage following up on last week's video. We had a really cold spell around Christmas time, and then last week I did a video and it wasn't so apparent as it is now. More stuff is showing up with more cold damage. I'm going to show you some of that. And then I'm going to show you 10 Hoyas. And then I'll take you out into the neighborhood and see what plants are able to survive here in Florida. I'm in St. Petersburg. It's a zone 10B, so we don't get these cold spells very often. So so I'm going to show you the neighborhood and what we can grow out there even when it gets cold. So let me just go around and show you some stuff. Some of the philodendrons are like this. Jose Bueno did not suffer whatsoever, even in the lower 30s. And a lot of the cattleyas did fine. Some of these guys were in bloom here. The blooms look a little, they're getting old, but they look a little brown. But yeah, with the cold, I'm surprised they even lasted. So some of the cold damage on the Hoyas I've removed. This guy was a little later in showing the cold damage. I guess when it gets really cold, the roots die back as well. And if the roots are gone, then the rest of the plant will just die. So yeah, that is a kind of Hoya Kentiana. This is the one that IML had, a Kentiana long leaf. But good thing I have another one backed up in the greenhouse. Some of the Phalaenopsis that had a lot of spikes, they lost the spikes, unfortunately. So I hope they will, because they usually flower around this time of year. The ones that I have mounted on the trees, they flower for me usually from November all the way to February. But I don't know if they're going to bounce back and give me any blooms. One thing that surprised me, and I have to go look back on my videos, it's this bromeliad here that puts out these really long, they can be up to a meter long. It's a Ricea simplex. It's a pretty rare bromeliad. I haven't been able to find it in many places around here in Florida, and we have a lot of bromeliad nurseries here. So yeah, if you look back in my previous videos, you'll see they have beautiful pendular flowers when they open up, and they stay like that for a very long time. It's a really, really cool bromeliad. So other plants around here, a lot of these out here, I brought them back out from the greenhouse. The temperatures are going to be staying above 50 degrees for the foreseeable future. So I'm beginning to bring a lot of the plants that I've had in the greenhouse back out here because they're pretty crammed in the greenhouses. And yeah, I just want to bring them out here because they seem to be doing well. If the temperatures stay above 50, 55 degrees at night and all the way up into the 70, 75 range, they do pretty well and put out new growth. This Hoya here is one I got from Indonesia, a species Aceh. This leaf actually came from Indonesia, and it's quite huge. It's way longer than my hand. I really love it. It has a dark midrib there. It's probably a Clemensorium type. That was in a greenhouse, so that wasn't exposed to the cold. I do have one there that a Clemensorium that got some cold, and there's some leaf damage, and I'll show you that in a minute. So the Paradiso Verde philodendron is the one that got the most cold damage, but I think like the newer leaves are going to be okay, and I think this plant will survive. And some of the orchids are even putting out buds, so that's kind of nice to see. And let me just show you that Clemensorium that got some cold damage. Here's the Clemensorium. This leaf looks okay. I think the older leaves, the older thicker leaves did okay. But even this little guy here did okay. Maybe the older leaves got the cold damage. It obviously didn't like it. So hopefully that did not. Let's see, this newer leaf was totally fried from the cold. And I wanted to show you this guy. This is called an Abutilon pictum, or a Chinese lantern mallow. And it was in bud during the cold spell. And now it has these beautiful flowers. So that is doing pretty well. Let me just take you back here. I did take the chickens out. They've been cooped up all week, and they love coming out here. See, here's a Lacanosa Poonsack that did not like the cold, and it looked fine a week after the cold spell, but this week it decided to show me that it really suffered. So that did not like the cold. So there's some viable vine on there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it all up into pieces and reroot new pots. And a lot of these plants I brought back out, like the Tortium was in the house. I brought it out, and some of these Hoyas were in the greenhouse. Show you some of the other damage here on this Lacanosa heartleaf. As you can see, there's a lot of damage there. And a lot of these I brought back out, like this Burl Marks and this Joe P. The begonias stayed out and did not suffer much at all. I wanted to show you two different Hoyas hung side by side. I did not bring them into the greenhouse because they were all attached up in this mess of plants here. But this is a Clopenbergii. Did not like it whatsoever. I think it's completely dead. All the leaves turned brown. And right next to it is Hoya ornithoides, and I have a big pot of it. You can see no damage whatsoever, and it's growing all the way up there. And I'll show you these were the spikes I had on my attached Phalaenopsis that were getting ready to bloom, but now they're all damaged from the cold. And the last cold damage I'll show you today is this no-nooch kind of Finlaysonia type. Did not like the cold. It looked fine last week, but it's dropping leaves left and right. I might be able to save some of it, but right now it's not looking too good. And next to it was this Erythrina Nara, and she did not miss a beat. She looks totally fine. Not one burnt leaf, and the leaves are pretty firm, and it looks really good. So yeah, that's the extent of cold damage back here in the garden. Like I said, I did bring probably 90% of all my Hoyas inside the greenhouses, or I covered them in plastic, and all of those were doing fine. So let me go ahead and show you the 10 Hoyas that I have, and then we'll go out and do the neighborhood walk. These chickens are sun worshippers. As soon as you let them out of the coop, they come out and they find a sunny spot, and they kind of just sunbathe for a good part of the day. So they're enjoying being out here. So let me show you the two Lacanoses that I have for you. I have shown these in previous videos. This is the Hoya Lacanosa that goes by Amarillo, and it gets kind of like splotchy yellow leaves. It could be a mineral uptake issue, but a lot of people like it. I kind of do sometimes, but it's not one of the best growers for me. It kind of just sits there. And this is the Asami Clone 2. And I really like this one. It has the albo marginata lacanosa leaves. And the new growth is coming in quite big. See, it's a lot bigger than when I first got the plant. So it's putting out really cute leaves. So that's the Lacanosa Asami Clone 2. And this is the Lacanosa Amarillo. And who doesn't love a nicely sun-stressed Hoya? And this is Hoya SV 432. You can see, for me, it's more of a combination. I think here in Florida, they get this color when it's cooler, and they get a little more light. They get like this nice cranberry red color. So this is a really pretty Hoya. The leaves are pretty thick. It's easy to grow, and the leaves can actually get pretty good size, as you can see, and they can get bigger than this. Really veiny. It's one of my favorites, and again, it's really easy to sun stress this guy. And this is Hoya discipulae. I got it on my last trip to Thailand back in November, and it hasn't missed a beat. It started putting out peduncles, as you can see. It has a peduncle ready to open. I thought it would be open today, but it's been in bud for a few days, so maybe another day or two and they will open up. And if you look above it, there's another one coming. It's a thinner leaf Hoya, so maybe I'll transfer this to palm, where it can have a water reservoir at the bottom, because I think it would probably benefit from having constant moisture. And since it's rooted pretty well in my rooting mix, I think I'm gonna maybe another week or two I'll transfer it to palm. It's a really pretty Hoya, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen the blooms. They look like egg beaters. And this guy here I'm really excited about because I haven't seen the flowers on it. I don't even know if it's the green or the more purple cinnamonifolia. If it's cinnamonifolia variety cinnamonifolia or cinnamonifolia variety purpurofusca. But it was sold to me from HOYAS as it's a new clone of Hoya cinnamonifolia from Java. And what I like about this new clone is that it seems like the leaves are, the internodes are a lot shorter than Hoya cinnamonifolia. And that's one of the complaints I have about cinnamonifolia, is that it gets really leggy, and it would look a lot better if it was more compact. And I have a feeling that this clone is going to do that for me. And over here I have another Hoya that I got from HOYAS, and I'll have their contact in the description of this video below. So if you would like to order from them, they're really nice, and they have tons of Hoyas. And if you go back like maybe 6 or 7 videos, I was there visiting in November, and they have an amazing nursery, and I think you'd really like that video, so check that out. Yeah, this is Hoya Ranaoensis Splash. As you can see, it does live up to its name. It's really splashy, and it did pretty well. As soon as I got it, it started rooting, and yeah, it's a really pretty Hoya. Hoya Ranaoensis Splash. And this is Hoya, this clone of Hoya corneri. She called it Hoya corneri big leaves. As you can see, I think they're a lot rounder, a lot more round than the regular Hoya corneri. I should have brought the regular one out here to compare, but I really love these leaves. They're really medium sized still. I don't know if they're going to grow bigger, but it seems like they stay about that size. They're rather splashy. They're pretty veiny. It's a really, really nice Hoya. And this was gifted to me again by HOYAS. And they have this one in limited supply, so check with them. And this is another Hoyas. I have some really cool Hoyas today for you. This one is AH801, and I ran upon it when I was doing that video at Hoyas in Thailand, and I fell in love with it. The leaf form is quite unusual. The leaf that I saw there was almost twice as big as this, so they get pretty beefy and pretty big. And they do have quite a bit of splash. I've been underwatering my plants because it's so hard to get into the greenhouse with all the plants that I put in there, and it takes me quite a long time. So by the time I water once a week, by the time I get to them, they're pretty dry. And I don't want to keep the plants too wet when the weather isn't very warm, because I'm afraid of getting root rot. So I keep, in the winter I usually keep them drier. They're not actively growing as much, so you can get away with doing that. And look at this Hoya. It is gorgeous this time of year with a little cooler weather and some morning sun. The leaves get this really nice sun stress. You can see it's pretty splashy. The leaves are a good size. They're veiny. Really gorgeous. This is Hoya Poise from Hoyas. And I have taken cuttings out of this plant to sell. And if you're not familiar, check my links below. I have a Facebook group called Rick and Swiffers, and that's where I do most of my Hoya sales. So check it out if you haven't seen it. This Hoya here is putting out this really nice long big vine, so hopefully by spring I'll have a lot of new growth there on those leaves. But this Hoya, it was a little neglected. I had it in a corner in the greenhouse, and I think I forgot to water it for about a month. But yeah, it's coming back, and it put out that nice long vine. So I have a lot of hope for this Hoya to really put out a lot of new growth this spring and summer. It's a really beautiful plant. So it's, again, it's an Hoyas, and the link below, you can check it out and see their price list and everything. Send Nata an email, and she can tell you what's available, and she'll mail them to you. And the last of the Hoyas I have for you today is this Hoya. It's an SS4302. It's gorgeous. It is a cross of Hoya sigillatus Alice River with Hoya Suoesiana. So Suoesiana has really long, meaty leaves, and Hoya sigillatus Alice River is smaller, like maybe an inch size leaves. So this is gorgeous. I actually seen the bloom of one of its sister seedlings in Thailand, and it's quite gorgeous. It's definitely, you can tell, and you can see both parents in this hybrid. It's really quite nice, and it's a pretty hardy plant. Sometimes I forget to water it for quite a long time, and it does pretty well. So it's forgiving, and it's putting out new growth here in the middle of winter. So Hoya SS43-2, one of Cerisa's amazing hybrids. And that's going to be it with the Hoyas. So I'm going to go outside now into the neighborhood, and I'm going to show you around some of my favorite landscaped mediums here in Kenwood in St. Petersburg. And over here there's a lot of palms, and they didn't seem to have any damage whatsoever. What I'm shooting here is that I just noticed that there's this mural that they're painting here, and it's quite beautiful. It's a beautiful day out in the neighborhood. It's probably up to 70 degrees now. Bright sunshine. It's really, really beautiful. Oh, it looks like they're still working on it. Amazing.
Thank you.
You mind if I video it? How long is it taking you to do this? It seems like I drove the other day and I didn't see anything.
I did this front side
Mm-hmm.
about in November, so I came back and he wanted to extend it.
Oh, it's really gorgeous.
So we saved it for the new year. I think we'll probably do the front side too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Perfect. It really makes this whole corner pop out. So it looks like the landscape plants here in St. Petersburg, we're basically Central Florida on the west coast on the Gulf of Mexico. And yeah, it dropped down to 33, 32 degrees. And most of these landscape plants survived. They look fine. They don't show any signs of damage. Even the bamboo looks pretty good. The palm trees. But they have a really big staghorn fern over there that I'd like to show you guys. I think I've shown it previous videos, and I wanted to show you if it got any damage. It does look like this. This is a copper plant. I forget the scientific name for it, but it did look like it got some cold damage. Let's see what this guy is. It's another copper plant. Did a little damage. Usually the areca palms are pretty sensitive to cold weather. About, let's say, I think it was 2010, I had a freeze in my backyard, and I lost a lot of my areca palms. They died back. They turned brown and died. Some of them died. This is another copper plant. I guess it was more protected, so it doesn't look like it suffered too much. It looks alive, and I don't think it really suffered too much. There's some browning at the tips. I'll show you. I don't know if you can tell the size of this platycedum, but it's probably at least 6 feet wide. Oh, there's a little kitty over here. Hey, pretty kitty. So it's a really nice, quiet Sunday morning here in St. Petersburg. Perfect weather for a walk. So let me walk a little more. Don't want to make this video too long. But yeah, it's looks like we survived that massive cold mass that engulfed most of the country around Christmas time. So this is our neighborhood park here in Kenwood, and like I said, most of these plants look fine. Even the giant white birds of paradise, no damage. Crotons look fine. And that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe and come back. I'll have another video for you every Sunday. Bye bye.